What's going on, 75Junction? We got a special guest in the house today. So we have Lamar here. Lamar, welcome. Appreciate you coming out, bro.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. So for those who don't know, you could just tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do.
Yeah, man. I am a father first. People that know me know that.
Okay, respect.
But yeah. So I'm prior military, medically retired, 2015. IT, whole career. Went to Afghanistan, a couple of deployments, about 2 years in the desert. But anyway, IT background. And I slowly but surely kind of diverted and tapped into my intellectual curiosity, if you will, and started to get exposed to the cryptocurrency, blockchain arena, initially more so from the technical perspective. But then once I started to really understand the financial implications thereof, it kind of swallowed me up. Pause. Okay. And
pause.
Right, pause. But anyway, and that's in essence how I got to what I'm doing at this point in time with the WBCC, this Watson blockchain crypto consultant. And so we do a little bit of a lot. We talked about a little bit of it, earlier. But it's primarily a B2B type of setup. We have like a crypto 401k plan that small businesses can implement and kind of benefit those who don't have either the know-how, the capital, or the opportunity to really take advantage of the investment world, because it can be intimidating. I was intimidated until, I really started to delve into it, if you will.
So. Absolutely. Okay, dope. Now, for those who don't know, we also, my IT background as well kind of coincides with yours. We work together on Langley at the Wing building, so we kind of go back a few years and stuff like that. But
absolutely,
what kind of inspired you to make that change with the cryptocurrency? What kind of caught your eye? Because you were in cryptocurrency while you were in IT, but you weren't as heavily divulged in as you are now. So what kind of what was that oh shit moment where you're like, okay, this is what I want to do now, this is where I want to go with this?
Yeah, that's a good question. So in all honesty, I don't remember exactly like when that aha moment was, you know what I mean? But initially I got into crypto because, like everybody else, became aware of it, media, it's in movies. I got a couple other partners that are in the finance world or whatever, may mention us, so forth and so on. And so even then, like, it was kind of like surface level, whatever. I wasn't really like into it. And so slowly but surely, once I realized that, oh shit, you can really like make bread in this, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to understand more about it and how, why, where's it come from? Why does it move the way that it moves? Why do people buy at this particular time? Why do they sell at this particular time? Just kind of understanding market cycles, if you will. And so as I started to research that and to really, really get into that, the nitty gritty, if you will, I began to get exposed to economics, the reason why everything moves,
right,
and so forth and so on, and how literally everything is connected, whole world, right? And that became eye-opening, and at that point I just kind of let it run its course. I mean, can't fight it, right?
Absolutely. So you said you had a intellectual
curiosity
in regards to the cryptocurrency. So economics has many facets, cryptocurrency being one of them. So do you feel like that is the future of where everything is going? Do you feel like everything will kind of revolve around cryptocurrency at a point in time? Because obviously right now it's in that boom phase where it's like, okay, this is the next wave, this is the next best thing. But getting everybody on board, obviously there's speculation, there's people that are nervous about it, people that are scared of it because they don't know about it, people that are just all downright skeptical. They're like, oh, there's no way this will work, there's it's too volatile. What do you say to those people that I don't want to say are against cryptocurrency, but are, I guess, ignorant to it, because that all those statements come, in my opinion, from ignorance. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lack of research.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we all ignorant on something, right? Like, you know Absolutely. What I mean? And so even understanding that is like a basic level of reality. It kind of injects a certain level of patience, like, you know, with people who may or may not see things the way that you may or may not see things. You know what I mean? I don't actually think that we're in the boom period yet. I don't even think that we're close to it. I think that those of us that are into it and that understand the massive nature of crypto and blockchain, because again, crypto is the value that crypto holds is for usage on the blockchain. And so, like, even when you look at like any of the major banks that shun crypto, and that's where a lot of it comes from, right? Because they're the people that control money, right? And they have a vested interest in doing that, because if the fiat banking system dies, then so does their riches, right? You know what I mean? And so no, I don't think that we're in the boom period yet. I do think that adoption is accelerating. I do think that you know, relative to where we were, you know, just a year or two ago, it's like night and day. But we definitely still have a long way to go. And you know, it's multiple reasons for that. A lot of people don't understand it enough to understand why it's important. And if you don't understand why it's important, then you don't understand why it's valuable to you. So even here, a lot of us in the United States, like, we view the U.S. as we're the gold standard, and in some cases we are, right? But when you factor in, I think it's like 80% of the population lives below the poverty line.
Right.
When you factor in that ultimately, when you put money into your bank account, you no longer legally, technically own that money. You're granted access to it. And so, like, even when you go and you swipe your debit card and you write a check, if people still write checks, I don't even know, but, like, you know what I mean? But if you writing checks, or, you know, you go to the ATM, right? And you're asking for permission to get your money back. Whereas with crypto, if you hold the private key that's associated with your hardware or even your virtual wallet, there's no other human being on the planet, the government, creditors, your mom, your girl, your brother, nobody else can touch it. It's yours. And that's never at all been the case since we've evolved as far as the monetary system is concerned. So it has a lot of legitimate underlying reasons why it's important. But again, a lot of people don't understand, and a lot of people aren't in a position to where ultimately it really matters, for real, like in the U.S. anyway. But when you look at places like Africa, that in a lot of those places, they don't have any existing infrastructure, you know what I mean? In some of those places, they don't even have running water. You look at like ACOM, he put out a video not too long ago, but they've actually brought electricity to, I think it's like 80 million people in Africa. That. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so they obviously don't have a legitimate banking system that, you know what I mean? If they don't even have electricity and running water, you know what I mean? And so when the white paper was written for Bitcoin and even a lot of the crypto projects that followed, those are the groupings of people that was kind of thought of and kept in mind. And when you look at other countries, as far as like the global economics, if you will, you look at what's going on in Venezuela. They're literally dumping money in the middle of the street because it has no value. That's how bad hyperinflation is set in. When you look at Iran or Turkey or Greece or Italy or India, even China is not in the greatest place economically. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. Which is crazy because they make everything that we have here.
Oh, big facts. Oh, they're coming though. We can touch on that later if you want. Absolutely. But yeah, like, and so when you get to the point that the fiat money, the U.S. dollar, the paper money that we hold and hold near and dear to our hearts and souls, if you will, when that starts to lose value, then people will start to pay attention.
Right.
And that's coming. I can't put a time period on that. Nobody really can for sure. But it is. And when it does, people will pay a bit more attention. But the opportunity is still the opportunity. And if you look at anything opportunistic, over time, the people who are the early adopters are the ones who reap the massive benefits, if you will. If you'd have bought Apple stock when it was $2, or Amazon when it was $10, or Berkshire Hathaway when it was $100, like, you know what I'm saying, you're sitting pretty right now, right? So I mean, it's the same concept as far as that's concerned.
Getting in while the getting's good, basically.
Big facts. Yeah.
Okay. Now you talked about the transition of currency over time. Now can we talk a little bit about that? Because I mean, we discussed it earlier, but I think it's good for people to hear, and it's good for people to know, because a lot of people don't know as far as like the evolution of currency, the evolution of how we as a people have negotiated currency over time, whether it be bartering or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like you said initially, and I'm talking about like biblical times, like BC type. Yeah.
Right.
You curse on your job?
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Okay. BC type shit, right?
Yeah.
We went from a point in time to where, cattle and grain and goods were exchanged for services and so forth and so on. And then eventually, I believe it was the Mongolian Empire, they brought up coinage. And so the first minted coin anyway, that was ever created actually had a lion on it. It was a roaring lion. And it really got nothing to do with nothing. I just thought it was kind of dope, right?
Now, is that lion symbolic of just their?
That's a great question.
Mascot, but is it like their empire was like?
I don't know the answer to that.
Like how Game of Thrones, they have like House Targaryen has like a dragon on their shit.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Okay.
I never thought to even question that. I'm gonna look that up now, actually.
Got you.
Yeah, good question. But yeah. So anyway, we went from there, and then the precious metal market kind of evolved, and that kind of became the standard. And then it was the Europe, actually. They're the ones that started to introduce the thought process of having paper money, right? And from that point, that's when you started to see like global trade evolve, because it became very apparent that it makes everybody else's life massively easier if we can exchange goods and services from one continent to the other, one country to the other, and so forth and so on. And then that slowly evolved into the banking system, roundabout to what we have today. And then after that came the stock market, and after that came the Fed Reserve being stood up, and the things that correlate and come along with that. I think the easiest correlation is actually music, right? So like you have your vinyls up here on your wall, right? And so generations prior to us, they saw the phonograph get created,
right?
And that was like it. Like, you can't get much better than this, right? But like, if you look at the evolutionary path of music, like we literally phonograph, vinyls, 8-tracks, CDs, tapes, like cassette tapes, like, you know what I mean, with the film. I remember vividly as a kid, we used to put the tape deck in the radio. You had to hold the record and the pause joint, so you had to catch it like right after the commercial break, so you could get the whole song because they told you what was, you know what I mean, or whatever. But anyway, so you had that, and CDs and Walkman and Discman, and then they started coming out with the iPods, and you know what I mean, you had MP3s, WMAs, those devices, etc., till now current day, it's on your phone. Like, you know what I mean, like you can click a couple buttons and you can play it on your computer or your smart home, your whip, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? And money has evolved a very similar way. And so crypto and blockchain is just the next step in that evolution. And that is the biggest thing that I try to drive home with people that are either unaware, like just don't understand, is that we're quite literally living through one of the most noteworthy evolutionary time periods. Definitely, as far as money is concerned, the argument could be made as far as human nature in general, because there are so many other things that are coming along with it. So you got automation, AI, and robotics, and so forth and so on. And so you should ask yourself a couple questions like, okay, this is dope and all, but what supports 5G? Like, you know what I mean? Right. So if we have these cars that are driving themselves, I was talking to a friend of mine, he's got a Tesla, and he said you can actually put your Tesla in cab mode. Say you go to a restaurant with your girl or whatever, and it'll go out in Uber while you're eating.
Get the fuck out.
And you'll earn bread. And I forget the time period, but if you do it over whatever the requisite time period is, you can make up to like $30K a year just by letting your car drive itself. You know what I mean?
Yo, that's insane.
And so when you factor in that you have all of these noteworthy ass evolutions, it makes no sense to continue to walk around with this notion that paper money is the end all be all, right, because these things thrive off of micropayments. You know what I mean? So even if you look at like the data industry, and I understand a lot of people don't understand the big data industry either, and you know, us having an IT background, we see the world differently, right, because we understand what's behind the curtain, if you will. Exactly. But even with that, it's really hard to get a fraction of a penny if the lowest denomination you have is a penny. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm a proponent of thinking smarter, not necessarily working harder. Although, you know, working hard is dope too. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm trying to be the conduit so that other people can start to think a little bit deeper than just the surface level shit that you see when you turn your TV on and you get fed whatever the media wants to feed you that particular day, because a lot of that is actually bullshit.
Absolutely.
I don't care for Trump, but he's right with that, man. A lot of it is actually fake news. So.
Absolutely. No, but yeah. I agree 100%. Now, that's pretty much the premise of your business, though. Not the Trump shit, but when you're talking about
the Trump shit, nah.
Right. When you're talking about getting people that don't have the information, the means to get the information, you're basically giving them resources, you're giving them information, you're giving them options in regards to cryptocurrency and understanding it and how to basically build that facet of their financial literacy, essentially. Okay. So can you talk a little bit about, you have an app that's coming out. Can you talk about one time frame that we're looking at for the app, and two, what exactly that app is going to offer for the end user?
Okay, so the app is actually called Recon. It's under construction. It should be ready by, I say, summertime, just to be, play it safe, if you will. Been working on it, in the background. That's why even people that know me, I pretty much disappeared off of the face of the earth for an extended period of time, because this is what I've been doing. You know what I mean? I've been doing the research. I've been doing the legwork. I designed the user interface, the whole joint, like myself, and I have a team of people that I work with that's doing some of the higher level technical stuff that's even above my level, if you will.
Right.
But yeah, and so what that'll serve as is actually extremely multifaceted. My business model is primarily catered to other small businesses because it's easier for me to deal with one person that has, say, 30, 50 people working for them, because once that conversation is had, the understanding has been passed on and agreed upon, if you will, then those people are just a byproduct of that, as opposed to me having to sit down with every individual person and explain, hey, this is what a Bitcoin is, this is what the internet is, this is what blockchain is. Like, I just don't have that type of time. Like, you know what I mean? If I did, I would. Like, you know what I mean? Because I do think it's very important. And that is kind of part of my, I don't want to say mission, because I'm not running a nonprofit. It is a for-profit business. But I can profit and still help change lives, right?
Right.
And so that's the dynamics that I'm kind of playing off of. But anyway, it'll serve. I have push notifications enabled, so I push out. And right now I do a lot of this manually for the people, the clients that I have currently. But I push out daily steals of the day. So like relative to what the market is looking like, this is the top 5 bang for your buck. Like, you know what I mean? and that could be a privacy coin, platform, currency, et cetera, because even within crypto, there are so many different sectors. Right. And a lot of people don't understand that because they think Bitcoin is it, like, you know what I mean? But there's literally like over 1,600 currencies,
right.
cryptocurrencies.
Ethereum, more than notable ones, I guess.
Ton of them, yeah.
Right.
Too many to really name off the top of the head.
No, definitely.
But yeah, so we push those out. It'll have an index that where right now I have a Facebook group I populate, and I put in not just the crypto information, but the political information, the other happenings that affect not only local or not even just our country's economics, but globally. Because once you really get the exposure and you start to really like garner the knowledge, you start to understand that everything plays. It's all of it. It's like a big ass puzzle, if you will. And so even this cog that's over here that may or may not be blatantly apparent that it matters or that it's relevant, there will be a point in time to where it is. And so you should pay attention to the whole thing. Right. So even like, that's why I hate talking to people and be like, I don't really do politics. Well, you should, because you got a job and you're alive and it affects you regardless of whether or not you believe that it does. You know what I mean? The tax breaks is actually a great depiction of that, right? Because a lot of people just kind of dismissed it. Oh, yeah, whatever. But then they filed their damn taxes and saw that they won't get in what they normally get back. And in some cases, like, you know what I'm saying? Right. And so that policy matters. It affected you in real time. And so, you know, I populate, you know, crypto, even the legacy market, stocks, you know, whatever, because, you know, people still have stocks and I'm not dismissive of that. I still hold a few, not a lot, but, you know, I still hold a few. Mm-hmm. But anyway, again, because it all plays, so that's in there as well. But the meat and potatoes of it is, so I established these proprietary indexes, and so they're set up until we have, you know, market cap based indexes, volume based indexes, we have sector based indexes, we have risk based indexes. Mm-hmm. And in essence, what I'm trying to do is structure it so that once people garner enough understanding that they can literally plug and play, like, you know what I mean? And so you should definitely do the research and you should do the legwork. And I even tell people, you know, I've told you, like, you know what I mean? The conversations we've had, I don't speak on anything that I haven't researched. Like, that is a pure part of my personal constitution, if you will, right? But everybody should double check anything that you're told, anything that you hear, no matter who it comes from. And so I tell people to do the same thing for me. And again, anybody for that matter. But yeah, so the indexes are already set up so people can take advantage one way or the other. As far as the B2B portion of it, so we'll take, I don't know, I got a guy, he owns some of the local corner stores in the area. Mm-hmm. And so those people, they make, you know, $7, $8, $9, I don't know, an hour, not a lot of money, right? And so they don't have a 401k. They're not going to be putting hundreds or thousands of dollars into a stock portfolio. And we can come back and why that would be a bad idea, even if they had it. But they're not going to do that, right? So with this, because of the early stage that we're at in crypto, these people that don't make a lot of money can allocate $10 a check, $20 a check, $50 a check, and see a noteworthy return. If done consistently, I wholeheartedly believe that in the next 5 to 10 years, I'm talking about life-changing returns, just to kind of put that out there. Right. And even that I really don't like saying, because I don't like how fantastical it comes across sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people will hear things or whatever, and they'll take it for shock value instead of what it truly is. Because, you know, it's like lottery numbers. But again, the evolution of money has only happened 5-6 times as far as human history is concerned. And this is one of them. So this is quite literally like lottery numbers. Like, just by living, breathing, and being here on Earth, you've hit the lottery in 2019. You know what I mean? Right. And that's hard for a lot of people to really understand, because none of this is really taught. There is very little of the relatively important information concerning finances and economics that are fed, definitely not to the masses, but even on a individual basis, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Which is really dangerous when you factor in that everything that we do revolves around money, quite literally everything, regardless of how you view money or not. You have minimalists that say, oh, money's nothing, money's not everything. And yeah, it's not, but it's necessary. So understanding it is huge, in my opinion. But again, long and short, it's set up so that we do a lot of the legwork for people, because them just wrapping their head around the basic level concept is going to be an arduous task by itself, right? Like, Absolutely. You know what I mean? And so I am, in essence, trying to set the board so that other people can take advantage the way that I am currently taking advantage as far as for my personal life. And that's actually where the business stemmed from, because it just got to the point I got tired of texting and having phone calls and explaining to everybody individually. And I said, it'd be a lot easier if I had something that I could execute collectively, and you know what I mean, kind of like a one size fits all, if you will.
Right.
And so that's where the idea for the business came from. And in all honesty, it's just kind of evolved from there. It's getting to the point it's definitely going to be bigger than myself. And so I'm just kind of along for the ride, you know what I mean?
No, I feel that. I feel like a lot of people, when they hear about cryptocurrency or they discuss cryptocurrency, they are a little taken aback or a little nervous because it's still new. You know what I'm saying? It's still relatively new not conceptually, the concept has been out since I think the internet was established. People have like, okay, well, what if we digitized money and made it a world-renowned currency, but digitally?
Yeah.
That concept conceptually has been around, but now that we actually have something tangible that we can use and benefit from, not everybody knows everything about it. Even the people that are in the nitty gritty about it, they don't know everything about it, all the facets about all the ins and outs, because it's still developing, it's still growing. We're still learning new things about it. So a lot of people are nervous, but they should see that also as an opportunity to get in now, because now if you get in, you can learn about it while everybody else is learning about it. That way, 10 years down the line, once it's established, you already know what you need to know to be successful in that business. Now, when we're talking about, cryptocurrency and things like that, how do you relate that to the stock market? Because you said, it's similar to the stock market, but in the same sense, it's its own entity in a way. Yeah. So where do you see this going in the next, let's just say 20 years?
Yeah. So like, even the answer to that, is so multifaceted, because again, I think the best place for people to start mentally is to do away with the expectation that life remain as you've known it for the duration of your life, because change has always been inevitable and will always be inevitable, right? Like, you know what I mean? And so even the stock market, the infrastructure, just dipping into the IT side real quick, the infrastructure that supports the stock market is antiquated as hell. Like, they are quite literally still using mainframe and floppy disks. Like, you know what I mean?
Which is insane. In 2019.
Mind blowing. Trillions of dollars are publicly traded on a daily basis, and they still have mainframe computers and floppy. And I'm not even talking about like the small floppies, the was it 3.5? I'm talking about the big joints. You know what I mean? Like,
for real?
Yeah, like I'm not at all exaggerating. This is reality. Like, you know what I mean? Like paper systems, filing cabinets and such, like that is the reality. And when you think about it, because the stock market is such a massive part of the economy at this point, the policies are even the Federal Reserve, it's based around the stock market, like the stock market's performance. They adjust interest rates based upon what the stock market is doing. And that didn't used to be the case, but that's just kind of how we've evolved once they came out of the 2008 financial crisis, which is its own conversation. But yeah, so looking at it from the IT portion and understanding what blockchain is and how many problems that solves just in and of itself before we even get to the value. Because again, crypto is important, but crypto is nothing more than the value exchange on the blockchain. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
And the blockchain is, in essence, a logical setup that adds a level of redundancy and transparency and trust that's never before been seen. Because again, like we were talking about, the legacy system, you have to ask for your money when you go to the ATM or when you slide your debit card or so forth and so on. You have even when checks were popping, right? So like you could write a bad check and you didn't know, or if you were a business, whether or not it was going to bounce initially because it didn't populate in real time, right?
Right.
And so crypto is based on what's called a decentralized ledger. And what that allows is it kills any possibility for double spends, from replication. So there being, like the dollar is massively replicated. There are fake money everywhere, right? All sorts of fiat, every country. And it kills that. But to really understand monetarily, so just to put it into perspective, are you familiar with the Forex market?
You said the Forex?
Forex?
I've heard of it. I haven't delved too deep into it.
So the Forex market is literally kind of like a stock market where nothing more than currency is exchanged. And so you have people that...
Oh, okay. Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, so you have people that trade that just like people that trade stocks or even crypto for that matter. Like, you know what I mean? And they're trading in and out of, the USD to the yen to the ruble or whatever, right?
This currency value changes as well
every day. Yeah, it fluctuates every day, so forth and so on. But to really understand the massive nature, you have to look at like the banks, because obviously they control the money. And so if you look at the daily amount of money that is sent back and forth, remittances of sorts, right? In terms of global trade, it takes, I believe it's 7 to 10 days, if I'm not mistaken, for some of these things. I'm talking about trillions of dollars to settle in real time. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so you have that a week plus long gap to where I haven't gotten the money, but you haven't gotten the money either. It kind of lives in an escrow of sorts, right?
Okay.
So you have crypto, like say Ripple or XRP is the legal name. They got sued a couple times, but there's a legal name for it. It settles instantaneously. So you have trillions of dollars, and again with the legacy setup, you have so many middlemen. So you have, normally anyway for just a transaction. That transaction normally touches anywhere from 3 to 5 entities. It's not just like your bank, the company that you're dealing with or whatever have you. You have so many middlemen. So think about like, if I want to send you $20 on Cash App, right? So I got to get my bank involved. I have to involve Cash App. They have a processor on the back and the front end that then connects to your bank. So you're talking about touching 4 or 5 different people, even though we're sitting right here and we can exchange it in real time. Because a lot of people kind of view Cash App and, other, Venmo, shit like that. Like, right. Oh, we already got the digital money. It's like, no, bro, that's not it, right?
Completely different.
So again, with crypto, you have the ability that you can settle that instantly. So you're killing time. That is a massive, and I do mean massive, like in the billions, if not trillions of dollars saved by these large entities, Apple's, Amazon's, Facebook, these are the largest companies in the world. They can then conduct business and send and receive everything that they need instantaneously just by using it. Facebook is actually putting out a Facebook coin, by the way. I don't know if we talked about that or not.
I did. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's supposed to come out this year, by like summertime. Yeah, but so you have that portion of it. Even if you look, I know you brought up Trump, like immigration ain't really the move right now, whatever. Right. But you have a lot of people that come here from like the Philippines or South America, whatever, Mexico, whatever. They come here and they work and they send money back. Right. Well, what's the way that they've been sending money back? Western Union, things of that nature, right? And you have to pay an arm and a leg, and these are already poor people that are sending the money back to support their family, which is why they even came here. American dream, all that shit, right?
Right.
Or whatever. But so if you got people trying to send a couple $100 extra back to the Philippines or whatever exterior country, and then you're having to pay 10-20% depending on the time frame that you're trying to get it back to them, it's kind of defeating the purpose. Whereas crypto, to crypto, I can send it to you in real time for fractions of a penny and maintain the majority, if not all, of my value. Right. So yeah, I mean, it's a couple different whatevers as far as that's concerned. But again, the correlation to the evolution of money is very similar to the evolution of music, because just like we started I think it's the phonograph, we ended up, with the iPhone X, and you're streaming Beyonce's album the minute that she drops it, 12:01. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's no different than us going from exchanging cattle and grain and minted gold and so forth and so on, to the point that we're entering now, to where, similar to Beyonce's album that you can play in real time, I can send you money damn near for free in real time. Same shit, right?
Okay, that makes sense. Now correct me if I'm wrong. With the blockchain, the way it works is it has to be decrypted. Basically, it has to be decoded in a sense. So that's why you have the Bitcoin miners, or whatever cryptocurrency miners there are, Ethereum, whatever. When they're mining that currency, that's trying to find that algorithm to break that blockchain, correct? And the blockchain contains a list of transactions, and once that blockchain has then been deciphered, those transactions get cleared. Is that how that works?
So yes and no.
Okay.
So for, like, say Bitcoin's blockchain, that'd be accurate. No, actually, it's somewhat inaccurate, because Bitcoin's ledger lives on forever, so you can always refer back to it. If you look at currency, so like Zcash is one, right? And so they have a portion of their tech, ZK Snark, and that actually allows that once it's settled and you agree and I agree that, say I wanted to buy your Blueprint vinyl, right? Like, you know what I mean? And so I agree that I've gotten it. You agree that you've gotten the money. At that point, yes, that disappears. Okay. But for the older projects, if you will, the Bitcoins, the Etheriums, the LiteCoin, so forth and so on, their ledger is not able to be altered. But that's also one of the selling points on it, is that you can trust it because you know that it's accurate. So there is no disputing, because you know that it's factual. Nobody can alter this. You know what I mean?
Okay, I got you.
Because like even the keys that are associated with your wallet and the addresses, so your public address. So if I want to send you something, you give me your public address. It's kind of like me mailing you a letter, right? So I put your public address there when I want to send that transaction. But your private key, you're gonna, it's like the key to your house. You're not gonna give that to anybody,
so it's like email encryption essentially. So you send me
sorta,
so you have my public key, and then once I receive that email with my public key, I use my private key to open it.
Facts.
Essentially.
Facts.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that's dope. That makes sense. So in regards to getting started on cryptocurrency, a lot of people don't know how to do that. So obviously with stocks, you have like apps like Robinhood, you have E-Trade, you have all these different platforms essentially to invest in, to get into the stock market. What's the equivalent of that with cryptocurrency? How would somebody get started on that if they wanted to?
Yeah, so that's a loaded question, and that's actually part of the reason why my app is structured the way that it's going to be. Because a lot of these, you can download Coinbase, you can buy Bitcoin on Cash App, you got Binance, KuCoin, Bittrex, so forth and so on. You have these exchange apps that you can download. You can conduct business, but they have KYC, know your customer. They have wait times and so forth and so on, and that can be whatever, especially if you're brand new to the space. You have zero exposure, you just know that it's a thing you want to get in on, blah blah blah. There aren't any in reality that I'm aware of anyway at this point. Now mind you, I have been underground doing my research, doing the app and so forth and so on, so I've kept my ear to the crypto streets, if you will. Right. But there aren't any that are baseline that really execute explaining what you're doing and why you're doing it as you do it, because ultimately that's how you're going to learn what you're doing. And it behooves you to go that route, because if you don't know what you're doing, then you can lose a lot of money quickly at that, right? And so, and I guess I didn't cover that when we were talking about the app. And so like that is probably like if you rack and stack it in terms of levels, that's probably like the beginner level of what our app does. So it explains to you what you're doing as you're doing it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So you know, and I don't necessarily just mean crypto. I just mean from an investment sense as well. So you go to your asset balance page or whatever have you. So you got a grand, right? And so we establish profiles that correlate with you, who you are, the risk level that you're, cause there's certain people that don't mind risk. I'm one of them. Like, you know what I mean? I've always been a gambler, poker, back in the day, dice, whatever. I actually thrive off of it to a point, right?
Okay.
But you have people that are risk averse that are the complete antithesis to that, right? Like they don't want any parts of risk, which is impossible if you're investing in most cases, anything that's worth a damn, really.
If you want to gain at least.
Yeah, you're going to have to risk at least some level. Now you can control that risk within reason. But anyway, you have to establish a portfolio, a profile that correlates with who you are, because at the end of the day, you want to be able to go to sleep at night, right? And so, that is what it is. But it'll explain to you, all right, you got $1,000. Well, this is what your hedge ratio should be based upon the assets that you're currently holding, right? And so, like, because of policy, SEC, CFTC, I can't sell gold. I can't even be a middleman for gold or silver or, any of the precious metals or, the things that we would recommend you to hedge your positions with, right? But I can provide the information. So like that's where the informational index comes from. And so it's a redirect actually, that as you're going through that investment standpoint, like it'll redirect you and reference that and say, hey, you should probably take a look at this amount of gold bounced off of, what you're currently holding portfolio wise in terms of like your crypto holdings, investment wise, depending on what your risk level is. Now you got some people that don't want any parts of gold or any parts of precious metals, period. And if that's you, cool, right? Like, cause ultimately, and when I say ultimately, I'm thinking in terms of years. A lot of people, they think they're going to make a purchase today and they'll be rich by June, and that's not practical, right? But ultimately, crypto is going to become the currency that is used on a day-to-day basis. The IMF actually put up a Twitter poll. It was probably like a couple months ago. I shared it in the Facebook informational page. I actually bookmarked it. But it polled and it said, all right, 5 years from now, which one of these methods do you think you're going to be paying with lunch with? And I believe it was 56% said cryptocurrency, right? And it's the IMF, like the International Monetary Fund. They control, or at the very least heavily influence, global financial policy. And so you have to figure, if they're already putting this out now in spring 2019, if you forecast 5 years out, you factor in Russia just allocated like, I think it was 10.6 billion just to put into Bitcoin. And that's their initial, like they'll come back to it. I believe it. And, we can even go deeper in it, but, a lot of people don't understand basic level economics. So I try not to talk over people's heads because I don't want to lose them. Right.
Exactly.
So I'm trying to be the relatable, I'm one of who the hell uppers, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I come from the inner city. I played ball. I did music. I was in the military. Like, you know what I mean? A lot of normalcy as far as I'm concerned. Probably prior to these last 3 to 5 years, right? But I'm trying to be not necessarily the poster boy, but I'm trying to be an example, kind of like Nipsey, right? So like when Nipsey got killed, like that. Even now, like the background of my profile is still the TMC, Marathon Continues, right? And I thought he was so dope because he made it cool, or at the very least acceptable, that regardless of your background and where you come from and what you about, you don't got to be a dummy, right? Exactly. Like you can research and you can better yourself intellectually, implement and execute the fruits of whatever it is that you're researching into your daily life, and you can live for you as opposed to forcing yourself to live under these stigmas, if you will. Like you gotta play ball, you're cool. You gotta go to the club, you're cool. You're popping bottles, you're cool. You got hella chicks, you're cool. Like, that's dead, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? We grown ups, right? Like, I got a daughter. Like, you know what I mean? Love her dearly. I have to not only think about myself, I have to think about her future as well. And the only logical place that I could come to as far as like how to best execute that and get to that point is to understand money. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm actually writing a book as well. It's a series called Meet the Money. And so it'll break down a lot of things that people don't seem to understand. Crypto obviously will be in there, blockchain too. But we touch on like credit, taxation, like, you know what I mean? Like, even the shit like you talking about Trump, like they make a big deal about his tax returns, and I get why he doesn't want to share them, right? Because I'm sure he paid probably zero taxes, and it's kind of hard to be the president and you enforcing tax policy, tax cuts, and you ain't paying no damn taxes, right? Like, you know what I mean? But what people don't understand is none of that's illegal. Amazon didn't pay $1 in taxes. They profited, and it was like, what, 11.8 billion or some shit like that. They paid no tax. Like, I paid more taxes this year than Amazon did, which is bananas, right? But understanding why that is, like, you know, there are tax loopholes, there are tax havens that, you know, you can take advantage of. My cousin Keith, he graduated from Princeton. He's real big in the academic world or whatever have you. He has his own business, College Thoughts, and it's kind of he's kind of cornering the market, kind of similar to how I'm doing with the crypto. But he even addresses the financial side. So he offers like a 529 program and, you know, so forth and so on. I'm actually working on coming up with the alternative for that, because, you know, even in terms of the gains that you're going to get, man, anything legacy. So your stock portfolio, if it nets 10 to 15%, that's a great year, right? Like, you know what I mean? Bitcoin was up like 10% today, like 24 hours.
Right.
Like,
almost instant gratification.
No, it is. Like, definitely instant gratification if you know what you're doing. Like, you know what I mean? But the only way you get there is by doing the work and, you know, doing the requisite research to have the intellectual capital to be able to maneuver in and out of whatever it is that you need to do to reap those benefits. And that's ultimately what I'm trying to help the masses with, because, you know, it is a lot to stomach, like, you know what I mean? And it can definitely be intimidating, and I'm still learning. You know, I learn every day. People that know me intimately, this is all I do aside from my daughter, and, you know, the basic essentials as far as life is concerned. I am reading, I am researching, I am watching crypto videos, Harvard, Stanford, Yale lectures. I'm done with school and I ain't never going back. But, like, you know what I mean? That was a massive part of my life. And even that I don't regret, because I understand that, you know, I had to go through that in order to understand that I was on the right track. You know what I mean? Because I've self-taught myself way more pertinent information than I've gotten from college. And so I know that it's a testament that anybody can do this. Everybody should do this. Most people won't, though, and that's sad. But I'm trying to be the conduit for the very few that will, because it's a game changer. Like, this is the fucking go to fucking go. Like, you know what I mean? Collect an extra 200 type shit. Like, you know what I mean? You're leapfrogging your normal life path financially, which is gonna propagate down the line to everything else that concerns you and yours and your family, and not just you, but like the people that are around you. Like, I tell people that, like, I deal with, like, even just, you know, friends, homies, and, you know, homegirls, whatever. Like, yo, not on some toot my own horn shit, but, like, there are very few people, definitely around here, that understand and that are into it as heavy as I am. I think it was Elon Musk said, like, if you read one book a month for 5 years, within that 5 years, you'll be in the top 5% globally in whatever that subject is, right? So I read 2 to 3 books a month. I research every day. I watch videos every day. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I've done this for over 5 years. So I feel comfortable saying that, like, probably globally, I'm in the top 5% in terms of like a knowledge base. You know what I mean? And a lot of people will get to that point and just kind of shun, turn their back. Oh shit, I hacked it. I figured it out, man. You know what I mean? I'm out. I'm a benefit, but
right.
I want to help people walk with me, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so that's the logic anyway. I know I kind of jumped around there. My bad. But.
No, you good, man. But I mean, I think we covered a lot. You know what I'm saying? As far as like just an introductory, there will be more content that we'll be putting out with you as well, because you have your own YouTube page that we'll be working in conjunction with. So on a closing note, do you have anything else that you want to add for anybody that's watching, listening? Because I mean, obviously, getting cryptocurrency is a big leap. And a lot of people may not be ready for it, but I mean, you're doing your due diligence by putting it out there. Whether or not they receive that, that's on them, and whether or not they want to do the research, that's on them. So, do you have any closing notes that you'd like to add?
I wouldn't say anything is necessarily specifically just isolated to crypto. Like, you know what I mean? I want to be very clear, even with that. Like, crypto is amazing once you understand what it is, and it becomes no longer intimidating. And I kind of view it at this point as like a part of my family. Like, it's this is my homie, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? We about to eat together, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? But even with that, and with anything, gold, silver, stock market, 401k, real estate, whatever it is that you do, they're all vehicles and nothing more. That's what they are.
Right.
We're exchanging value, and there are various vehicles to which that happens. There are a lot of misguided notions that people operate, and it's scary because they base their life off of it, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the real estate market, I think it's down like 9% since like October of last year. But growing up, we're taught that you haven't done anything major in life until you become a homeowner. Well, if you fast forward to 2019, you have people like Grant Cardone, who has made all of his money. He's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and he will tell you that 98% of people shouldn't own a home. You know what I'm saying? Because you're tying up all of that capital in a market that can fluctuate at the drop. When you think about the 08 financial crisis, I think they said like every 13 seconds a house was foreclosed for that particular calendar year. Every 13 seconds for the entirety of the year. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you have people that's what they're working off of. This is what I do in order to invest. I elect for my 401k because this is investing. And none of that's true. Because in order for you to truly be invested, that means that you're doing the research, you're doing the legwork. That means that you're managing whatever it is that you decide that you're drawn to. And I'm really nondescript on whatever it is. I think that crypto makes the most sense because there's just no other vehicle that's gonna net you. I think it's up like 34 million% since its inception, which is insane because it's only 10 years old. So 34 million% over a 10-year period. Like, show me something that does half of that, and I'll shut up.
Right.
There isn't one, right? But again, whatever it is, whatever. But figure that out. Like, you know what I mean? If you're prone or partial to real estate, then do that. But understand what you're doing and don't do it. I tell people, even with crypto, like, yo, fuck me. But take what I'm saying, research it, validate it, and then make your decisions, right? Like, and I think the frame of mind of people thinking for themselves and operating under that premise is what's really lacking, and which is why economically, we're in the position that we're in, especially in the black community, because let's just call a spade what it is. We don't have access to a lot of this. Right. I'm not even talking about the people or the money. I'm just talking about the information. I didn't get this from my parents. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm sure if they knew, they would have told me. Like, you know what I mean? Right. And it took me to my late 20s to get to a point where I started to understand I had to get this myself. Like, you know what I mean? And I think that's probably the biggest thing that I would feel comfortable to a point, even validated if more people started to adopt, is that this is how wealth is built. Nobody gets rich by going to work. People, hey, I'm getting to the bag. Like, no, bro, you're going to work. Like, that's not getting to the bag. Like, you know what I mean? You're sustaining your life, and that's cool, and there's nothing to shit on and nothing like that. But you're not getting to the bag. You're executing somebody else's vision, and that is what it is. It's sometimes that is necessary in order to get to where you need to go. But don't get lost there. Like, you shouldn't get lost there ever.
Don't get sucked in the rabbit.
It doesn't matter who you are, what you do. Research it, figure it out on how to execute your vision. Investment wise, definitely. But even other than that, like, you know what I mean? You're doing your thing with the show, which is dope. I appreciate the opportunity, you know what I mean, for the platform. And so forth and so on. But a lot of people never get to the point to where they say, all right, you know what, fuck this, I'm gonna step out and do this for me, right? Like, you know what I mean? And that's the biggest thing that would make me happy personally, because like I'm gonna be good financially one way or the other, especially a 5-10 year outlook, because I've been here for a while. I've been in crypto for about 5 years now, like, you know what I mean? So I'm not new, and so I could very easily have just said, all right, shit, I'm gonna just whatever, and me and my daughter, we gonna be cool, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? But the more evident that it's become, and I say that because I was there, like, you know what I mean? I'm not removing myself from that equation. I'm not there anymore, and it's something I'm extremely happy about. But there's a point in time to where that's how I thought, that's how I operated, that's how I moved, until I started to really understand the game. And this is the game. I explained it to my mans, and I know we gotta go. But I explained it to my mans. I said, this is very similar to like we at the Apollo, right? Mm-hmm. And we sitting in the audience. We all in the audience, and we looking at the stage. You got Game of Thrones, Scandal. The Sixers beat the shit out of the Raptors last night. I did watch that.
I know you happy about that.
Hell yeah. But you have all these other distractions that we are entertained by, and that's cool to a point, because you do have to live, right?
Right.
But I got to the point when I started to realize that I didn't have all of the rules to the rule book to this game of life that we were playing, right? Mm-hmm. And I wanted to understand more, because I could tell that it was some notable things I was missing. And so I stood up and I walked on stage, and I looked behind the curtain. And so I kind of like, peeked behind the curtain, if you will. And then when I started seeing the reality of how the successful people become successful, and the money that comes along with it, because you don't chase the money, you chase becoming a person of value, and the money just comes after that, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? And so what I'm trying to do, because I'm about to go behind the curtain, and when I go back there, I'm not coming back, like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But I don't want to do that without making a valid attempt to help as many people as I can, which is in reality why the app is constructed in the way that it is because that's the easiest way for me to do it on a massive scale outside of just Virginia or Philly, or you know what I'm saying, whatever, because I can actually touch globally, as long as the marketing correlates, and you know what I mean, so forth and so on. But I look behind the curtain. I'm trying to get everybody to get up. Fuck them distractions, yo. Fuck them. Mm-hmm. Fuck them. They not gonna put no money in your pocket. They don't give a shit when you got doctor's bills, when your light bill due, when your car break down, when your kid gotta go to private school, when you trying to retire. Even if you think about that, like retirement is what, 65? Mm-hmm. I think life expectancy is like what, 76? I'm supposed to work my whole fucking life,
right,
and be free for 10, 11 years. And I had 11 fucking surgeries. So I came back from Afghanistan. So I don't know what my body gonna look like when I'm fucking 65, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just not plausible. Like, you feel what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So that would be the biggest thing that I would impart is that, whatever it is, even if it ain't crypto, I think that especially when you factor in everything, it would make sense to be crypto. But even if it ain't, whatever the hell it is, do it, and don't fuck around, don't half-ass it, do it, because I guarantee you 95% of whatever else you doing, it's just not close to being as important. Like, you know what I'm saying? Think long game, not short game.
Okay. No, that's facts. I mean, and again, you've imparted a lot of knowledge that a lot of people don't have, and a lot of people can learn from this. So, again, I appreciate you coming up and sitting down and doing the interview and just discussing more in depth about what cryptocurrency is and the direction it's going, and just to wake people up, because a lot of people are asleep on this.
I appreciate you, bro. Again, I appreciate your platform. I think we'll be here again at some point in the near future, right?
Absolutely, man. We're going to work, so.
Yeah.
All right, man. Hey, everybody make sure y'all follow him on social media. Where can people find you at?
So on Twitter, it is WBCC Digital. On Facebook, man, I wasn't trying to open up the information group like that.
You don't got to do that.
Well, shit, I'm put it out there now. WBCC, Blockchain Consulting. It's an information group. It is a closed group. It's not a monetized group. But I've tried to keep it, around a couple hundred people, at least up until this point in time. I was waiting for the app to be, we're in the final stages of development. So at this point, I guess I can open it up. So, requests can be sent there. Instagram right now is just my personal, and I don't mix the two. And then obviously I have a personal Facebook and WBCC page as well.
Okay. Dope.
And then again, the app Recon, it'll be out no later than, I just say summertime of this year. It'll be on Google Play and iTunes.
Okay, dope. All right, well, hey, everybody make sure y'all follow him. Make sure y'all check out his stuff. Make sure y'all impart some information from this interview as well. Make sure y'all actually use it. If not, it's up to you. Choice is yours. All right, 75 Junction now. I appreciate you, Lamar.
Yeah, appreciate you, bro.
Absolutely.